Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I pray that you've had a blessed week so far, and I pray that God would continue to bless the rest of your week, what is left of it. My name is Elder Deveren Peterkin. I serve at the Daughter of Zion Seventh-day Adventist Church in Delray Beach, Florida, and we bring you warmest greetings from our Pastor Leonard Newton for those of you who are not members of that particular church or who watch online. I want to thank you for spending your time with me this evening, taking time out of your busy schedule so we can talk about someone special, and that is mommy or mother or madre or mama san or whomever the name that she goes by that has been given to her, that special person that has reared you and nurtured you and given birth to you. And so I would like to, if we can, just spend a few minutes, maybe the next 7 to 10 minutes, talking about mommy or that person who is near and dear to you that helped raise you and took the place of a mother. You know, there's a book that is called The Adventist Home. And in that book, there is a statement that says that next to God on earth, there is no influence stronger for good than that of a mother. God has appointed mothers to do a special work. First of all, when God created Eve, he put within her the ability to reproduce offspring. Of course, that has to be done with the help of a man, Adam. But God had assigned to Eve a special role in that she would carry the seed or the offspring for a specified time period. And the purpose of that is to help develop a close bond between the child and the mother. Of course, God has given special character attributes of the mother, that she would be the nurturing, the loving one that would help foster those character traits within the child that she brings forth, whether it is a male or a female. Now, oftentimes we overlook the special role of mothers. You know, in a few days, this coming Sunday, the world, or at least most of the world, is going to be celebrating what we know as Mother's Day. People around the world, not just in America, recognize and understand the importance of mothers, the role that they play in society, as well as the caregiving and nurturing and development that they foster within the children that they are to raise. That is a special bond. The father doesn't have that bond. Friends don't have that bond. Siblings don't have that bond. But the bond between a mother and a child is unique, and God designed it as such. So we're just going to spend the next few moments talking about mother. Now, mothers from my at least my mother, from my earliest recollection, and let me say this, not all of us have grown up with a mother. Not all of us were blessed or fortunate enough to grow up with a mother in our lives. There are some mothers who died giving birth to their children. There are some mothers who were separated from their children through unfavorable circumstances. But there are some people who, even though they did not grow up with a mother, they may have had a surrogate mother or a substitute mother in the form of a grandmother or an auntie or a big sister or another family member or even a neighbor, someone who fulfilled that role to help raise and nurture you. And God bless that individual for stepping in and taking that responsibility. So whether you have a birth mother who is in your life or who is no longer in your life, who may be asleep now, in the biblical term sleep, or who may be separated from you by distance or other circumstances, for those of you who have a mother, even if it's a substitute or a surrogate mother, you learn some principles from that surrogate mother or that biological mother that you have a relationship with. How many times have you, or can you recall, maybe not just as a child, but even to this day, where your mother or your surrogate mother told you, don't chew with your mouth full of food, or, don't talk with your mouth, or chew your food slowly, chew with your mouth closed. Don't talk with your mouth full of food. She may even tell you, sit up straight, stand up straight. She may have said, behave like a young lady or behave like a young man. She may have told you as a child or even as an adult, don't have a potty mouth. In other words, don't use curse words or words that would bring shame to God or shame to you or shame to your mother or shame to your family or anyone else. Or she might have told you, which sometimes many mothers do, they'll say, be kind, be courteous, always say please and thank you, and listen more and speak less. And so for the most part, we've all been told that by our mother or our surrogate mother. We may have been told once, or we may have been told multiple times. But nevertheless, that's just an example of some of the loving character traits that a mother will share with a child. And because of that, society owes a debt of gratitude to mothers, because it's through the mother's influence that oftentimes we develop character traits of what we consider or call home training. And so we have often seen, and we may have exhibited sometime within our lives in the past or maybe even the present, what happens when we don't exhibit home training. Home training is something that they're basically rules of courtesy, rules of kindness. And so because mothers help instill within us those character traits, the debt that society owes to mothers is that for the most part, you expect people to grow up to be kind and courteous. And as a result, laws are established by people who have been given home training. And those laws are to help protect society in general. And so because of mothers, society is indebted for a lot of what we consider to be good character traits that are developed from childhood to adolescence into adulthood. Now, I'm not discounting the advice and the love of a father, because there are some of us that grew up with a father who was a good father figure. There's some who grew up with a father that was not a good father figure. There were some who grew up without a father figure at all. But nevertheless, usually and typically, the home training or good character traits to be loving, kind, tender, compassionate, courteous, and thoughtful of others. Normally that comes from our mother or our grandmother or some other mother figure, because women in general, God has blessed them with that trait, that innate trait to be courteous and kind and nurturing because of the special role that she plays, that God has instilled within her the ability to nurture and raise and carry a child. And so that bond between the birth mother and the child is special. So God put special character traits within the mother of a child. And so what I would like to say is that because of the special role that mothers play, that God has given them the nurturing and the loving character traits, He's also given them the trait of protection, because mothers naturally love their offspring, and not just among humans, but even in the animal world, we see how the lengths that the mother will go to protect her young, her offspring, from danger. And so mothers have an innate mechanism within them, not just to nurture and care and love for their children, but also to protect them. And the Bible gives us a few wonderful examples about the nurturing, caring, protective characteristics of a mother. If you remember, it was Moses' mother, Yoshebel, who, because she did not want to obey the king's commandment and allow her child, her young infant male child, to be killed, she put him in a river, put him in an ark, created an ark, put the baby carefully therein, set it in the Nile, and sent Miriam, Moses' older sister, to follow that ark, to see where it would wind up, rather than turn her child over to be executed by a king who was afraid of the prophecy of a deliverer who was to be born. We also see the story of Hannah, who was the mother of Samuel. She loved Samuel so much. For a number of years, she was barren and could not have children. And so every day when she carefully prayed to the Lord, and the Lord heard and answered her prayer and blessed her, she was so thankful to God that she returned her son Samuel back to him for a life of dedicated service. And God blessed her with many more children. We also see the loving character traits of a mother when we read the story of Ruth, how her mother-in-law Naomi was a godly woman. And because of her example, Ruth, who was a heathen woman, clung to her mother-in-law Naomi after Naomi's husband died and after Ruth's husband died. She clung to Naomi and decided to care for and follow Naomi, and she declared to Naomi that your God would be my God. That's how much she loved Naomi, because of the love and the care that Naomi showed her as a mother-in-law. And so we see from many examples within the Bible the loving, protecting, compassionate, giving, unselfishly characteristics of a mother. And so I would like to, if you have your Bible present with you, go to Proverbs chapter 31. And Proverbs chapter 31 talks about the characteristics of a virtuous woman. Now, part of that proverb was written by, in the first verse, it says King Lemuel. And it states that this was a prophecy that was shared with him by his mother. And it denotes all of the characteristics of a virtuous woman. But I would like for you to see in particular that when you go to verses 26 through 28, it talks about how the mother, how she carefully prepares for her family, and that her children arise in the morning and they call her blessed. And her husband calls her blessed also and praises her. And so this is a special role that women play, not just within their own immediate families, but also in their communities and in society in general. So we see mothers, when you mention the word mother, the first thoughts that should come into your mind are someone who is loving, someone who is caring, someone who is compassionate. Now, that's not always the case, but originally what God designed and intended for the mother to be was, first of all, to love her children unconditionally, and to secondly, provide and care for them. And so we understand that as a result of sin being part of our lifestyle in this world, as a result of the rebellion in heaven and Adam and Eve's disobedience to God, that the ideal for the mother has been skewed and by Satan. And so nevertheless, there are still some women out there who, even if they do not attend a church or are not religious by any standards, they will still have a natural, innate feeling to love and care for their child and have a special bond with that child. And many of them maintain that special bond throughout a lifetime, whether the mother passes first or the child passes first. You know, in most situations, the mother has a very special bond with her child, and she's very affectionate towards her child. Now, because the innate, loving, compassionate, caring, and protective character traits of a mother, we should hold our mothers within high esteem, because they make many sacrifices for us. And as children, of course, we're not perfect when we're born. We make mistakes, but mothers will normally help shape and guide us. Those of you who have ever been hurt as a child, the first thing you would do is you might call out to your mother, or you might run to your mother, and your mother might kiss your boo-boo, clean it, and put a Band-Aid on it, and it would help you to feel better. And there's nothing magical that the mother has done, but just the feeling that you get from her that it's going to be all right and that it will be okay helps you to take your pain off of that boo-boo. Now, mothers, because they love us and care for us so much, we often will take their advice. We will take it to heart, and we won't brush it aside. Now, if you have a mother, like in my case, it was my mother who pointed me to Christ. And if you have a mother or a mother figure, whether it's a grandmother or a surrogate mother, if they've ever told you these words, you need Jesus, you will take that to heart. You may not think about it in that moment when she tells you, but sometimes you would, but sometimes you may not. But rest assured that there will come a situation where you will think about those words, you need Jesus, or the advice of your mother or your surrogate mother. And many times people, in my case, for example, I followed that I followed that advice. And there are many of you out there who have followed that advice. Of course, there are some who don't follow that advice. But for the most part, the reason I followed that advice was because of the relationship that I had with my mother. Because of the relationship she had with me, that influence that she had upon me is what helped me to try Jesus. And I pray this evening that if you have a mother or a surrogate mother who is telling you, you need Jesus, or you need to try Jesus, or you need to give it to Jesus, that you would honor your mother, that you would humor her, and that you would take that to heart, and that you would try Jesus, that you would give him a chance, that you would allow him to work within your life, that you would listen to his spirit, that if you're living a lifestyle or you're doing things that you know you should not be doing, that you would listen to the advice of your mother. Now, because mothers have that innate ability, first of all, to sense something's wrong in our lives, but secondly, to care for us and to pray for us and to love us and to give us advice. How dare we reject the advice of our mother, who loved us and raised us, carried us by choice, and prays for us? There are many mothers or surrogate mothers who have arthritic knees, or the cartilage in their knees is gone and they have no kneecaps because they've spent countless nights, night after night, month after month, year after year, on their knees praying for us. And so because mothers and surrogate mothers, someone who fulfills the role of a mother, because they love you so much, they will get down on their knees, not just once, not just twice, but many times, and they will petition the Lord on your behalf. Even if you're not praying to God, they will pray to God so that God will show favor upon you, so that God will protect you, even when you're not asking for God's protection. And so we, even as I mentioned before, society owes a debt of gratitude to mothers. More importantly, you and I owe a debt of gratitude to mothers, whether we had a mother within our life or we had a surrogate mother. Even if you grew up without a mother, there was someone in your life, if it was a counselor, or if it was someone of a teacher or of another profession, someone who showed you the care and the love and the guidance of a mother that helped shape and mold you to be a responsible and caring and loving individual. That person who took on that role is your mother. And so I just wanted to spend this time with you this evening to, if your mother is still alive, call her this evening. Tell her how much you love her. If you have a mother that you have an abrasive relationship with and you haven't spoken to with in a while, call your mother. Tell her how much you love her. Tell her that you are still thankful that God put her in your life so that she still by choice carried you, still gave birth to you. And whether it was her or a surrogate mother who raised you, that you may not be here today without the guidance and the care of that person. So don't wait until Mother's Day to send a card or to send flowers or to call and say I love you, or to say how important that your mother is and that how thankful you are. That's something that you should do daily. And if you're not in a position to tell your mother daily, you should be willing to do it weekly. But don't let time pass and wait for Mother's Day to show your gratitude to your mother, because tomorrow is not promised. There are many people who have lost their mothers and they wish their mother was still around today so they could show their love and appreciation for them, because they did not express to them the love and the care that they should have while they were alive. And so don't let that time go by or pass by without calling your mother. Call her without delay, because angels in heaven are watching. God has assigned that person to be special to you. And so may God bless you and may God keep you until we meet again. And of course, Mom, I love you. And for all of you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And I'm not going to wait until Sunday to say it. I'm going to tell you right now and give you your flowers right now, because God created you to be special for us. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.